Yeah, thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on the podcast. Been listening for quite a while now, and now I get my
Really?
chance to share. Yeah.
That's your that's I love that. I love to hear that. Okay, we have a listener. Welcome everyone to the marvelous month of May 2026 edition of The Impact, a sustainable CT podcast for your edification, your enlightenment, and your entertainment too. I'm Jim Hunt, Communications Director at Sustainable CT, so if you're looking for someone to blame for this podcast, well, you can blame me. But remember, this is never a one-way conversation. We always want to hear from you for our edification and enlightenment. Drop us a note, won't you, to info@sustainableCT.org. The Impact is brought to you in part by the Tremaine Foundation. The Emily Hall Tremaine Foundation seeks and funds innovative projects that advance solutions to basic and enduring problems, and we are oh so glad they do. Visit them at tremainefoundation.org. Remember, we can't do what we do without you. We don't have a magical rainbow unicorn money tree, no sir, but you can support Sustainable CT's work and mission. Yes, you can. Find out how at sustainablecT.org. You'll be glad you did. Our guest today is Jayson Velazquez, Manager of Community Outreach at the Connecticut Green Bank. It's Jayson's job to nurture strong, collaborative, and reciprocal relationships with municipal leaders in low-income and disadvantaged communities, community-based groups, stakeholders, and mission-aligned organizations like ours, like Sustainable CT, that's right. Jayson earned a Bachelor of Science in Environmental and Natural Resources from The Ohio State University. Go, you ferocious Buckeyes.
Go Bucks.
Now, the Bucks, a Buckeye is a nut. Now, I don't.
It's poisonous, though. It's a poisonous nut. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And a Master of Environmental Science from the Yale School of the Environment. And of course, we love handsome Dan the Bulldog for sure. We've asked Jayson to join us to catch us up on all the great stuff the Connecticut Green Bank has been up to, and they're always doing a tremendous amount of great work. We also want to focus today on what the Green Bank has been doing in the area of community support, which is right up Jayson's alley. So Jayson, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on the podcast. Been listening for quite a while now, and now I get my
Really?
chance to share. Yeah.
I love that. I love to hear that. Okay, we have a listener. So you're privy to all of my mistakes and my rambling on and nonsense.
I just hope I'm a good enough guest to feed into it, Jay.
Okay. We're professionals here. We'll get it done.
There you go.
Well, first, for our listeners who may not be quite so familiar with the Green Bank and what it does, there might be a few left out there somewhere. Let's get a little background. What is the Connecticut Green Bank? How did it come to be? What's the mission, broadly speaking?
Yeah, absolutely. Great first question. Connecticut Green Bank is the nation's first state-level green bank. Connecticut Green Bank was established in 2011 as an act of bipartisan legislature as a quasi-public agency. So we sit between state government and private entities to attract investment into Connecticut's green economy, to provide solutions for homeowners, for business owners, and for communities as well. Broadly, our mission is to confront climate change by increasing and accelerating investment into Connecticut's green economy, to create more resilient, healthier, and equitable communities. And we like to wrap that up with our vision, which is a planet protected by the love of humanity.
Where did that come from? I love that. Did that come from Brian?
Yeah,
he doesn't know. It's Brian Garcia, who's the director. That sounds like him. Is that what he said?
Absolutely. Yeah. Brian is our fearless leader and great visionary here, really inspired by some of the work of Maya Angelou, inspired by some faith-based leaders as well, and really trying to tie in the work that we do for Green Solutions as our sort of role in stewarding for our generation and generations to come.
I don't want to make this a Brian fest, but I've had him on the show before, and we've worked with him a lot. We love him. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He really does care about humanity, I mean, and he's unapologetic about it. It's not like he's, looking at his shoes and mumbling. He's out there really defending the best elements of humanity. And it's very interesting that he should be the director of an investment a green bank.
Yeah.
It makes it a very interesting combination for sure. And it does. It gives your group a certain mission that is very unique, I think, too. You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when you have a leader who really works to make the mission and vision true in all of our different programs and products and areas of the organization, and particularly in some of our community outreach and engagement strategy, as we'll talk about throughout the episode, I think it really makes for a compelling place to not only work, but to also grow and to see the impact that we have on the state of Connecticut.
And this kind of leads into the next question that was about you. I mean, from what I understand from the people I've talked to at the Green Bank, it's a great place to work. People actually care about one another and the work environment that you're in, and being and seeing that you folks advance in your professional life and with a sense of purpose and personal fulfillment. I mean, that's pretty special. And so I wanted to ask you a little bit about you. How did you get to be involved with the Green Bank to begin with?
Yeah, it's a good question, and thanks for reading off a bit of my bio earlier today. So I've been in Connecticut since I came for grad school in 2021, where I went to Yale School of the Environment
Yeah.
for my Master's of Environmental Science. And at that time, I was pretty engaged in energy-based research. I was doing energy research in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, doing some of the
Oh,
understanding
really?
how community-based organizations were responding to the federal response or the U.S. federal-based response,
Or
and sort
lack of
of
it? Yeah.
yeah, or lack thereof, and exactly right, and how mutual aid networks, community-based organizations were really supporting each other through the energy crisis as well. So through that, ended up working in Connecticut as a energy or climate and energy justice policy advocate at Acadia Center,
Oh, yeah.
regional nonprofit there for a few years. And then after getting my feet wet serving on the Energy Efficiency Board for the state, after doing some lobbying, after getting engaged, wanted to shift over into programs. So decided to take the knowledge that I gained in the policy and the regulatory space, working across different initiatives at Pura and working with Deep and working with the legislature while doing some of that policy advocacy into programs at a time when I really felt like we needed to make sure that our programs were continuing their commitments to our equity, environmental justice, and
Yeah.
low-income communities.
Yeah. I mean, your forte, and you correct me if I'm wrong, really is in community engagement, community outreach, trying to involve mar marginalized communities, but that's not all. I mean, it's not really about that. There is that element,
Yeah.
but really community engagement writ large. Uh, so Green Bank brought you on to kind of focus on that. Is that what your focus has been in the
Yeah,
past?
so I would say back in 2024, before I joined the Green Bank, but in the evolution of the creation of the role that I came into at the Green Bank.
Yeah, it's like they created it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they internally they had sort of a stakeholder engagement, community outreach type like workshop series over a summer in 2024, and they really wanted to make sure that they were recommitting to community-based campaigns, recommitting to supporting municipalities, to some of these other groups that maybe weren't the focal point of the years before, but were really true to the Green Bank's DNA and some of those solarized campaigns
Yeah.
run, or some of those clean energy communities work that a lot of folks remember from back in the day working with the clean energy task forces. So the role that ended up becoming the role that I sit in now, the community engagement or manager of community outreach role, really serves to support Connecticut's municipalities. So 169 different municipalities. It's every municipality has a different flavor. You know how that is,
Oh, yeah.
being a sustainable CT. So a lot of that work we try to segment in working with the councils of governments. So thinking about the 9 different cogs at the state have been a really great partners for us to think about getting enough of a flavor of how the different municipalities are thinking about, or maybe not thinking about, or thinking differently about green solutions, whether it be energy related or environmental infrastructure related. So pretty much that really big network of not only municipalities, you have some of the community-based organizations and nonprofits that are doing the outreach and education, also sometimes subject matter expertise in some of these different areas alongside that as well. So it's a pretty big funnel.
Yeah.
But we'll take all the conversations that come our way and find somebody to have a conversation, here at the Green Bank. And if it's not a good conversation for us, we're happy to pass it on to other state agencies or our partners in other spaces.
I'm going to go off on a tangent here a minute, but
Yeah,
we'll get back to, I
do
mean,
it.
we're talking about engagement with communities and we'll
Yeah,
get to that. But one of the things I remember talking to Brian about was that the Green Bank, the way it's seen, right, by the world,
yeah,
outside world, was very much, I mean, almost as a yes, working with municipalities, but also very structured a great deal to give support to industry and to companies, to be, these groups that own buildings and restructuring, how they energize buildings and whatnot. And this focus on community, on individuals, on residents, on neighborhoods, I think I don't know if that's original to the Green Bank idea, but it really serves it well. It makes it really brings it home to everyday people. I mean, we're not part of corporations trying to figure out how to save money on an energy bill. We're human beings living in a community trying to figure out how to save taxes and how to save energy costs in our own homes. It really helps bring Connecticut Green Bank down to earth, as it were. At least that's my assessment for what it's worth, and I think it's a wonderful thing. What are the Green Bank's major areas of focus now in 2026? What are you guys working on most
yeah.
this point?
Absolutely. I'll get to some of our 2026 goals and sort of some of our program ideas. But I think you hit the nail on the head with what you just said, Jim. We are um, in a lot of our work and leveraging some of that limited public funding and attracting some of that private investment. Like a big part of our work is to communicate what the overall societal benefits are to communities and how some of that investment that is brought in through some of our work does support folks on top of making it more accessible and really believing this vision that everyone should have a place in the green economy in one way,
Right.
shape, or form, and finding ways to do that. Yeah, some of our 2026 goals. A big one for us is investing in affordable multifamily housing. So thinking about
Well,
the
it's timely
role,
for sure.
yeah, absolutely. Thinking about the role that solar and battery storage play in supporting affordable multifamily housing, developers, tenants as well. So through our solar marketplace assistance program plus or solar map plus, that's our program that provides no cost technical assistance to the property owner of the affordable multifamily housing unit
Yeah.
or the affordable multifamily housing building. And we're able to walk them through sort of what the savings would be, all of that desktop review of solar and storage for the purpose of providing benefits to the tenants and overall energy system there. So that's a really big one for us. That solar map team is also working on schools. So there's a school carve out within the non-residential energy solutions program or the NRES program at the state that allows for a bit more lucrative incentive for schools, particularly if they are in distressed municipalities to do solar. And that can look like rooftop or carport. So that's a really big program in doing some of that technical assistance for us through Solar Map Plus. It has been a really big priority focus area for us. The other two would be investing in electric school buses. So there's a lot of conversation. The legislative session just wrapped up about electric school buses,
Yeah.
and we have a program to support school districts called the Fleet Electrification Accelerator. So that program provides technical assistance for school districts, whether they own and operate their own fleet or they contract out to go through that entire fleet management, infrastructure needs, financial capital stacking process to really understand what it'll take to meet state policy, which is really what all of our programs are about. How do we help the communities align with state policy in innovative ways, either through financing or through technical assistance? And then our last one being investing in resilient communities. So our Smarty loan program, which is our premier homeowner program, recently added resiliency measures to that loan product. On the CPACE side, so thinking about the commercial property assessed clean energy side, there also will be hopefully more to share in the coming months about adding additional resilience measures to something that was primarily clean energy or energy barrier related. And then we have been keeping an eye out and partnering with the Resilient Cities Catalyst on implementing what I think is now Public Act 25-33, which is the resilience bill from the last 2025 legislative session that implemented the resiliency improvement districts legislation. So lots to lots to unpack within that, but affordable multifamily housing and technical assistance there, technical assistance and support for electric school bus financing and roadmap planning, and resilient communities being our really our three big buckets for this year.
Yeah. How do you think these things impact the communities? What does that look like? How does the Green Bank bring its programs into the communities? What's the process in that?
Yeah, it's a really great question that gets tied up into a couple different things. We get, when we're engaging with the municipalities and we're promoting or sharing a bit about our available products or programs, we kind of listen out to what the municipalities are interested in. Sometimes they have, let's say, recently completed a comprehensive plan or they've completed an energy strategy or something of the sorts that kind of gives the municipalities the direction of where they want to go. And maybe that has included some community outreach and engagement in those. And we will work with those municipalities to see if we can plug our programs or plug our products in a way that allows them to also goals in that way. A lot of the work and communication that we do around our programs and products, we try to make sure that we are communicating a lot of different benefits, whether it is job creation, tax revenues generated, whether it's about how much energy burden we are alleviating through some of the programs, or even the megawatts deployed of clean energy in different ways. We really try to make sure that we have all of that accessible down to different levels and different ways for folks to engage with that information.
Well, and do you ever get feedback? I may have speaking from personal experience about if you're saving money for the town and it affects my tax rate, are you able to promote that idea? Are you able to go out and go, look, we're out here saving the town money, we're saving you money in your every month in your tax bill. Is that something that you push a little bit or no?
It, it's a little, I would say that our communication strategy is probably a little bit a step removed from
A
that,
little
I
more
would.
subtle than that,
Yeah, we're a little more subtle
yeah.
than work with us because we can promise this. The last thing we want to do is be put in a position where we're over promising and underperforming.
Sure.
I would say a place where we do some of that is with thinking back to the solar map program and some of the work that they do with schools. We
Okay.
have a couple case studies that we were able to put together with that team and the great work that they do to talk about how much savings are is the school district realizing over the course of the term of a power purchase agreement that then can go towards whatever sort of the district really wants it to go to. So we try to communicate it in that way of like, here's how much is being saved overall. Here's how much investment is coming in from the public dollar. Here's how much investment is being paired with private dollars. And here's how much
Yeah.
savings, are being communicated. But we don't go as far as to say like, here's the exact amount, or you can for sure
We're
expect
going to
this.
save you money.
Yeah.
The reason I ask, I mean, because our dynamic with municipalities is very often we're coming in and we want the grassroots support from the people in the community because if we don't have that, if they're not telling their town leadership and town administrators to work with us, there's no incentive for the town to work with us. It's all, I think there's incentive. There's lots of incentive, but I should rephrase that. There isn't as much incentive. If the town leadership hears from its citizens that they want them to work with sustainable CT, we get a lot of connections that way. And I just was wondering how that is with the Green Bank, if there was any comparable dynamic going on. Does the community are they even aware of you folks? Are they
Yeah.
aware enough to think that, these are people we want to work with. We want the town to work with the Green Bank. Are they aware enough, you think?
It's a great question, and it is definitely something we're working to better understand at a couple of different levels.
Yeah.
And completely agree that when you have buy-in and support from
Right.
community, grassroots communities, clean energy task forces, and the like, that towns are more willing to move in that way. So there's a couple of different ways that I think we try to approach that. One is folks like myself and the growing outreach team that engage with our different partners in community. So for talking about the municipal level, it's probably me. If you're talking about specifically economic developers, it's my colleague Peter. If it's
Sure.
folks in the public health space or in the environmental infrastructure parks development, that would be my colleague Ashley. And so that's how we kind of keep tabs of who we have and how we're engaging with folks. We like to, which I think we actually adopted from Sustainable CT, the empower to inform model of community engagement, of thinking about how we can get communities just informed about who we are, both at the municipal staff level, but then going a little bit farther into actual communities. We
Yeah.
rely on a lot of our community-based partners. Again, I mentioned some of the clean energy task forces as a way to do that. So we work a bit through that group and our good friend Andy Bauer over there to provide us space to do some of these Green Bank 101s or programs in that way. But it is really, really important to hit on all angles there. Some communities we have way more trust developed and brand recognition than others.
Sure.
And last year we did a survey to understand what the Council of Government perceptions were of Connecticut Green Bank, just to get a general sense of how the municipalities in those regions were thinking of us. And we're getting ready to launch a community leader survey, which will be for whether it's nonprofit community-based organizations and their leadership, whether it's municipal staff, whether it's a clean energy task force. We want to hear about like what the perceptions, what the understanding, what the gaps are, what people think about us in the coming weeks here. So that'll be sent out. So if you're listening to this and it's timely, then maybe take that survey and let us know.
Yeah,
We're really
absolutely.
interested in hearing about
No, it's
gaps there.
really important. The more people hear and know about what you're doing, and especially the impact you have on the community, that's huge. All the numbers and everything. But if the state people in the state legislature don't know, if the people in certain communities or governments or municipal officials don't know, if the people in the sustainability teams aren't really aware of what you're doing, boy, it's hard to do your job well, if nobody's aware and supportive. So more power to you. I think it always helps to tell your story, be able to go out there and tell your story loud and clear. How how is the Green Bank ensuring its programs and the benefits of this green economy that we're supposedly in? How are you trying to make sure that reaches marginalized and low income and distressed communities? What are you doing
Yeah.
special there?
Absolutely. It's a really, really, really great point. And the Green Bank has a goal to reach 40% investment in communities that may be disproportionately harmed by climate change.
Okay.
We work within the frames of the definitions that exist at the state level there, whether it's the Community Reinvestment Act eligible communities, which has the specific housing median income levels, or if it's a low income disadvantaged community, which was the definition from the Climate and Economic Justice Screening Tool and the Environmental Justice Screening Tool, or whether it's the vulnerable communities definition or distressed municipalities at the DECD level. So we try to track our level of investment across our programs and products through that. For vulnerable communities, we've met that goal of 52% of our investment is in vulnerable communities. And then as you sort of progress through some of those other definitions, as they get more granular in definition, it drops off a bit. Whereas I think as of our last sort of run of that, we're at 39% for low-income
Yeah.
disadvantaged communities and
Okay.
then 29% for CRA communities. So it is really important. A lot of the work that we're doing is to fill those market gaps in the space, and a lot of the market gaps that we are seeing are in the affordable multifamily housing space. It is in school districts in distressed municipalities and the like, particularly when it comes to school buses and solar and storage on schools also. So we try to coexist in space there and have all of that information on our Maya tool, or the mapping analysis of your area tool, or
Okay.
MAYA tool. You can go online. It's a mouthful, but you can go on our website, and it'll show you a really cool way to break down our societal impact across different municipalities. And you can do it at the municipal level. You can do census tracts. You can do legislative districts, and different ways to really break it down to help communicate the story of what the Green Bank either has done or how investment has flowed into different communities in Connecticut.
How do you identify these communities? Are they identified through state statistics rendered, for your use? Or I mean, you go, how are you identifying the communities? Like, short.
Yeah, we definitely follow the definitions that the state has outlined for us,
Okay.
and at the time some federal definitions. So we're still what once was Justice 40 initiatives at
Right.
40%, directed towards EJ communities or environmental justice communities or disadvantaged communities. We're still committed to that 40% goal, just working within the definitions that the state has provided for us. And
And is there, I mean, a significant amount of work being done with, like, say, minority-owned businesses? Or I'm trying to break this down into some concrete level where, yeah, there's a store owner or a shop owner in Hartford or East Hartford that's you've identified as being could benefit from these programs. You're able to reach out at some point, so you make contact, or how do you do that? How does somebody get involved with you?
Yeah, I would say it really depends on sort of I guess the platform, or the property structure, or the interest in a specific program or a product here. But if we're thinking about like small minority or women-owned businesses, some of our programs, thinking about our most recent Green Liberty Notes, that has been a really big supporter of the SBEA program, or the Small Business Energy Advantage program,
Okay.
through the utilities and Energize CT, which does support and has their sort of outreach and engagement efforts with minority women owned businesses. We have a contractor sort of section, or solutions branding in our work also. We're hoping to bring somebody on here in the coming weeks to fill in that role. But within that, we also have a contractor network that also does overlap with some of the minority women-owned
Yeah.
business contractors that also exist in the Energize CT space. So we're out there and we're developing these relationships. Peter on the small business side, or on the economic developer and business and building solution side, has been working to bring some of these folks in. And there's a forum coming up where he has Anne Marie Knight from the Black Business Alliance presenting on a panel of some of the
Oh, cool.
challenges that Black-owned businesses and small businesses experience in the state, and how challenging it is to access financing with some of that.
All right, Jason, let's take a break a second. We'll come right back and we'll pick it up. We'll return to our program in just a moment. You've been listening to The Impact, a Sustainable CT podcast. Our 2026 Spring into Summer celebration, sponsored by Earth Forward Group, will be held at the Hillstead Museum, 35 Mountain Road, Farmington, on June 11th from 4 to 7 p.m. Please join us for this free event, yes, free, as we celebrate the communities and leaders shaping a more resilient future for Connecticut. As our nation prepares to commemorate its 250th anniversary, we gather to reflect on our state's past, celebrate our shared progress, and honor the visionary work making history today. Hillstead is a National Historic Landmark. The Colonial Revival estate was designed by Theodate Pope Riddle, one of America's first female architects. The museum's impressive collection includes original furnishings and decorative arts, paintings by Claude Monet, Edgar Degas, Edward Manet, James N. Whistler, and Mary Cassatt. I like Mary Cassatt, as well as numerous works on paper and Japanese woodblock prints, sculpture, and more. Its sunken gardens and historic grounds provide the perfect backdrop for a celebration of heritage and innovation. Come early, yes, early, to visit the Hillstead Museum's first floor, including impressionist paintings displayed within the original in situ domestic interiors, like that, in situ domestic interiors of the 1901 historic house, open for a self-guided tour from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. We'll be honoring our spring certified community. Some of our favorite friends and partners will be tabling, and we'll introduce our newest cohort of Sustainable CT Fellows. We'll have music and light fare, of course, and all of your Sustainable CT friends will be there. Please register today at whereelsesustainablect.org because space is limited. It really is this time, folks. Get in there early. And feel free to register any guests you would like to bring with you as well. Your hard work and continued support are of vital importance to us. Yes, they are. So we do hope to see you on June 11th. The 2026 Sustainable CT Spring into Summer Celebration is generously sponsored by Earth Forward Group. The name Earth Forward Group reflects an acknowledgement of the planet that underpins our existence and an unwavering belief in the future. EFG's goal is to provide business and advisory services that promote sustainable growth. That's Earth Forward Group. We have additional support from our friends at Liberty Bank, Capital for Change, Clean Transportation Communities of Southern Connecticut, Titan Energy, and Casella Waste Systems. Also from All American Waste, Connecticut Water, and Blue Earth Compost. It seems cynical to just rattle off some names here in an obligatory fashion, but I want to be clear. These are companies and organizations that believe in the power of sustainable CT and in the importance of what we do. We are not able to do what we do without their support, so please do check out their products and services and regard them with admiration and thanks. We certainly do. Just like us, they're working hard to make Connecticut a better place. And don't forget to register to join us on June 11th. See you there. All right, let's get back to the program. We are back. We are talking to Jayson Velazquez, Manager of Community Outreach at the Connecticut Green Bank. It's been a great conversation. We're learning a lot, and I love the Green Bank. Everybody at Sustainable CT loves the Green Bank because they do great work, and Jason's been very helpful talking about some of this stuff. I want to know, let's talk about COGS. We do a lot of work with the COGS, and it's a pretty important institution in the state of Connecticut. Again, if people aren't aware, we don't have counties in Connecticut for one reason or another, shied away from having county government here. But instead, we have these COGS, which are really doing the work of counties in most respects. How does Green Bank work with the COGS?
Yeah, it's a great question. When I came into this role, one of the questions that was asked was, "There's 169 different municipalities. How are you gonna figure out how to get in front of as many of them as you can?" And
Yeah.
the way that I thought about it was really through the councils of governments. Coming into
I'm sorry, I
this,
should point out, yes, COGS means
yeah,
councils
councils
of
of government.
government.
There you go.
I'm so used to talking about them. I forget to mention that to people. Yes, councils of governments, and it
Yeah.
really is a regional collection of towns. So go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Absolutely. No, you're totally fine. Acronym soup gets the best of all of us. Yeah, so that was kind of the thought process there, and I've had a really great outreach team to support in carrying out that strategy. The first step for us was really just understanding both internally and externally who had connections with COGS, what were they, what strength were they, what do they know about the Green Bank? How do they feel about the Green Bank? Just to better understand like how we're being viewed, how we're being perceived, if there was relationship work that we had to do, but then also what they knew about our programs and products, and then how, if at all, that could connect to existing planning processes that they're engaging. You hit the nail on the head in what you said, Jim, and that the COGs are really like our equivalent of some of the county government that other folks beyond Connecticut may be more accustomed to or more familiar to. But with a lot of the planning duties and aggregating of community leaders, the COGs have been a really great place for us to just not only build relationships within the COG itself and really work to better understand how COGs function and how they're engaged with each other, but then to each of their different and distinct, again, municipalities. And each COG also has its own, flavor. Like Capital Region COG is a bit different than Metro COG, is a bit different than West COG and Northwest Hills and Northeast and Southeast. So and we have varying levels of relationships with each of them. But the concept that we want to get across is that we're here to engage with the COGs as deep as they want to go, and we're really hoping to also just learn a bit about how we can be useful in some of those planning processes.
Yeah, I mean the whole COG process, regional collaboration element, kind of baked into what a COG is. You'll have a region in Connecticut, like say Southeast, Northwest, da, da, da. And it is very important to what we do because almost none of the stuff we do respects a town boundary. I mean, if you're talking about whether it's dirty air or dirty water, that obviously goes any which way. If people are trying to develop climate resilience, it is so much better and so much more effective to work with your neighbors, municipal neighbors, to get that done. Just in terms of economies of scale, if nothing else, but just be able to have an effective answer to some of these issues. That regional collaboration is huge. So working in the COGS makes our life a lot, I won't say easier. Sometimes it isn't easier, but it's much more effective, I believe, for sure. And that's where all of our fellows go. Our fellows go to
Absolutely.
the COGs. We ought to get we have a special fellow that works with the Green Bank too, but
Yeah.
um, but most of our fellows year in year out work with the COGs. So in light of how you guys are working with the COGs, what are some of the trends you're seeing in municipal engagement at this point? Are there trends, or do you see something happening statewide that looks like a trend? What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks again for the question. I think even just thinking about the fellows really quickly, going off on that tangent,
Sure.
where last year we hosted the Sustainable CT Fellows for
Yeah, you did.
an
They
in-person
love that.
Green Bank Day. Yeah, we gave them a workshop of a day where we brought them in, shared a bit about who the Green Bank is, what we do, had a presentation from Brian. We had like a young professional presentation to connect with the fellows, given that they are sort of earlier on in their careers,
Yeah,
and then walk them through some of the thinking of how they can support us and also bringing the programs and products to the COGs.
yeah,
So we were running our survey to the COGs. We had the fellows who were ingrained in the COGs, and we took all of that information and ended up developing an informative workshop menu. So
uh,
thanks and shout out to the fellows from last year. We're excited to host the fellows this year also, and we have two former Sustainable CT fellows that are going to be interns this summer with us also.
that's
So
right. That's right.
John Henry will be working, I think, with our legal team, if that serves me correctly,
Uh,
and Avery will be working with our innovations team on
oh,
renters.
you got a couple of good
So
ones. Those are
we're
great.
uh,
Those are great.
we're
They're great.
we're really excited about that.
Yeah,
But to get to your point and your original question on the trends, one thing that made us really want to go into this idea of developing this workshop menu was that technical assistance and some of those pre-development activities are continuing to be a really big market gap, but then also opportunity for us to support the municipalities that may be more constricted with capacity, whether it be time or um, the understanding the landscape of all the different incentives for energy or environmental infrastructure, or some of the internal or intermunicipal connective tissue between departments necessary to get a lot of the grease going on the gears, if you will. So those are some of the things that we've noticed that Whether it's a larger municipality or a smaller municipality, it's always going to be quite a bit of work at the municipal level to get some folks interested or just in a place where they're able to access programs or products at the state level.
Sure. How do you handle the disparity between the tiny towns that have no budget and no personnel, and everybody's a volunteer basis, and it's hit or miss whether you get somebody who really knows what they're doing. So I shouldn't say that. That's awful. I mean, they care. They
Yeah.
care a lot, but they may not know enough. They may not have the tools or the resources to be able to bring to bear on some of the stuff. And then, of course, you're working with other larger towns, West Hartford, cities, New Haven, et cetera, that have, or Bridgeport, that have, really robust sustainability groups and budgets dedicated to a lot of this and have a great deal of expertise, or at least certainly more than the small towns do. I guess my question, the nut of my question is when you're working with a small town without a lot of resources, is that a heavier lift? Do you have to do a lot more work to get them from point A to point B than you might otherwise have to, or is that
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think it's necessarily more work. I think it's maybe different work.
okay?
Where it may be, as you mentioned earlier, thinking more regionally of how we can pull together a couple different towns to do something and maybe connecting at the cog in that way. It may just be something that's more of a relationship building opportunity for us. If a town maybe is interested but isn't ready, they're undergoing, let's say, some budget challenges or election is changing the makeup of who's in city hall
Sure.
and changing some of that or if the residents or the property owners may be interested in different ways. So we really try to think about different pockets of engagement, right? If we're not able to chat with, let's say, the school district because the school budget crisis is very real right now, and school districts are really struggling
Oh
to
yeah.
figure out how to keep, teachers in the space. And maybe we won't go talk about solar map, but maybe they have a robust business community and they have commercial property owners who want to find ways to support. So we'll talk about CPACE, or they have residents
Okay.
and homeowners who are interested in learning what they can do in their own home. So we try to find ways and sort of what aligns best with what the municipality is interested in and has capacity for, while also connecting them with their other municipalities nearby or their cogs in a way that can support some of that conversation too. So we can do everything from relationship building to education to direct connections to full-on campaigns. We have that full spectrum just depending on the level of engagement or capacity that a municipality or small town has.
I guess that kind of feeds into the question I had. I was curious about how there are towns that may be struggling with a way to get started in all of this, and how is it that you bring them along so they're at a point where they feel confident to be able to go ahead with a lot of this stuff? How do you do that? Where do you bring in municipalities to start? You know?
Yeah, it's good. It's a really good question. I think in certain ways we're thinking about again the cogs is a good way to bring together some of those folks who are interested in Green Bank 101, program 101 type workshops and
Right.
conversations. We're working with the South Central Regional Council of Governments, so SCROG, Laura Francis and her team, Sabrina, Brendan, Ian, Angelina, all of those folks down there to bring together once a month workshops for all the municipalities in the Scrog region. We've done Solar Map Plus, we've done Fleet Electrification Accelerator. We had a recent one on CPACE for some of the town leadership there. Talk about commercial properties. So that's a good way. We're really hoping to expand that to the other cogs if other cogs are interested, and we're starting with Scrog because they were really eager to bring this to life, and we're hoping that we'll have some good use cases to share with the other cogs that hey, this is something that has increased municipal understanding and engagement with green solutions at the state level. But we encourage folks to just reach out. If there's a municipality or if you're listening to this and you want to get in contact, but you're maybe daunted by the idea of Connecticut Green Bank, you can just give me a call or send me an email. I'm not going to try to sell you anything on the phone. We are a quasi state agency. We really do want to make sure that The municipalities feel supported and equipped with the best information, regardless if they work with us, particularly on a specific program or a specific product, or if they want solar in a specific way. We're always happy to entertain those conversations, but we just want to make sure also that the municipalities always have the best information and the most up-to-date information at hand, in ways that also allows them to align with state-based policy.
Well, that's the thing. You folks are not profit motivated. It's not as if you're going to go out and sell a product or process that isn't going to help the municipality or the community. If it, you're not going to do that, well, there'd be no why. Why would you do that? There's no incentive for you to do that. Do you run into skepticism? I mean, this is the modern age. We're skeptical of everything, and it almost sounds too good to be true. You come to my community and say, look, we can do this. We have this program that over this period of time will save money or do or help with this or, work to develop, support infrastructure or energy. Do you run into that kind of skepticism where no people just don't want to believe you? You think it's too good to be true, or you're out to get them somehow?
Yeah,
Where does that?
yeah,
What is that?
I think you run into it in a couple different ways, right? If we're thinking about, let's think of like the Solar Map Plus team, and if they're going
Yeah.
out to a school district and they're engaging with a school district, right? Like we want to make sure that if we are going to be supporting a school district through that it will provide savings for the school district, right? We don't want a school district to be
Right.
under in any way. We don't want ourselves to lose any positions in that way if we do end up owning a system and have a power purchase agreement, let's say, for example. So a lot of that is sort of having these type of conversations where our solar map team would do a desktop review before even going down the line of, signing anything or here's what your solar array would look like. It would just be doing like, here's how much roof you have, here's how much it might cost, here's what we can do, or here's what we can't do, right? Like we're always in a position where, because we do coexist in the market with developers and others in this space, we do always make sure that the municipalities or the schools or whoever that we're working with has the option, and just the best information to make the most informed decision possible. But skepticism that does exist. I mean, even when I'm out tabling at different events, folks who haven't heard of us are like, oh, so you're a bank like a food
Right.
bank, or you're a bank like, can I deposit money with you? And it's kind of like, oh, like not really, but then you kind of explain it a bit more, and folks start to get it. So it is a bit about explaining the model, but the skepticism exists, particularly in our current political climate. Everybody
Yeah.
is just wanting to make sure that they have the correct understanding of what is available to them, and to not be taken advantage of.
Yeah. Well, it's the old yarn. I think it's true here too. A good reputation is hard to make and easy to lose. And you folks are regarded so well in Connecticut. It'd be stupid, right? It'd be just stupid to go to jeopardize that in some way because that would really defeat the mission. Yeah, I mean, to be able to deliver on whatever it is you're talking to people about,
Yeah.
that's it's kind of important. I
Yeah.
can't, people are skeptical, understandably so, but sometimes for reasons that,
You
it's
know, and we don't take that for granted.
yeah,
There's a lot of communities that don't trust the Green Bank. There's a lot of communities that have never heard of us or um, haven't been able to benefit
yeah,
from Green Bank in the past, or we haven't been able to put our best foot forward, and that's kind of what we're working at, right? Like we want to make sure that we
yeah.
are working on in the ways that we can, within our scope of work that we do, within the investments that we're able to direct, just making sure that we are checking those off and bringing as many people along as we can.
So how did an individual participate in the Green Bank's work, right on the individual level, participating with the Green Bank and in the green economy? How can we bring this down to people?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple different ways. If you want to get involved in terms of supporting your community in doing some Green Bank, we're taking up some green bank programs. You can definitely get involved at the municipal level with some of your clean energy task forces, with some of those groups. We're always tabling and at events. If you are a homeowner, we have our Smarty loan program, which has up to 90 different measures that you can participate in doing some home upgrades. And right now, there's a pretty attractive interest rate buy down on heat pumps through the Smarty
Heat
Loan
pumps, heat pumps,
program.
heat pumps.
Heat
Yeah.
pumps, you know,
Oh,
they're all
they're
the rage right now. So if
here.
somebody's interested in that, you know, we welcome them to check out Smarty Loans. If you're a parent and you're concerned about your kid's air quality on their ride to school because your kid has asthma, we're happy to connect with you and talk to your Board of Education about electric school buses in our program. Same thing with solar.
Sure.
If you're an individual who has the means and is interested in participating in investments, we have what we call Green Liberty Notes, which release every few, I think I would say once a quarter, and I think there's one active now for a few more days if I'm not mistaken. And what that is, that allows you to participate in a way that currently supports the Small Business Energy Advantage Program, SBEA program. But we're hoping yeah, I think there's going to be flexibility and future things to announce on how we can continue to direct those more localized investments to projects that people can see and really be a part of within the state also.
Yeah,
Um,
and those that's meant as a legitimate. I mean, these things pay dividends, right? You buy like it's almost like Liberty bonds or whatever they used to be years
Yeah,
ago.
I'll say I'm not a tax advisor. I would recommend everybody read the Form C and all the necessary things. So I'm
Yeah,
not on the hook for that. But we
got
have
it.
seen the Green Liberty Notes be a very a really sort of spectrum spanning option for folks, whether they have $100 that they want to invest or they have 100. 200, 300, whatever it may be, to find ways to support local projects in Connecticut.
Sure.
That's a way, and receive a return on investment,
Yeah,
depending on what the interest rate or the accrual of interest can be on that specific.
and they make great gifts.
I'm glad to hear that. I think maybe we can take that to our communications team and try to
Yeah, yeah, it's
uh,
graduation season. You
graduation season. Get
set your graduate up with a couple of Green Liberty. What do you want us to take away from this conversation today? Most importantly, what's the emphasis here?
Yeah, I think it's been a great conversation, and I'll just say before even getting to that, I do want to thank you again for your time, Jim,
Oh,
and
we enjoy
bringing
it.
us together. Always happy to join in. But I think if we want to get folks engaged, definitely feel free to reach out to myself at community@ctgreenbank.com. That's our community inbox that I manage. So it's not going to a robot. It will be me. It just helps me segment.
It's not
It's
you're not
it's not just
AI.
my name because it
You're
helps
not
me
replaced by
segment.
AI yet. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
my emails are not replaced by AI. That is a real email. You can find out our office hours. I hold I think once a week I have office hours. If folks want to drop in, those are all on our Community Solutions webpage on the Green Bank. We have upcoming quarterly webinars where you can learn a bit about our work. And yeah, we're particularly for the COGS and municipalities, if folks are interested in learning more or are interested in sharing about how we can potentially learn how to collaborate through some of those workshops, through some of those planning processes, we're more than happy to do that. So
Great.
definitely get in touch. We'll be here. Yeah, happy to support.
Excellent. Well, Jason, thank you very much once again for taking the time with us. It's been great. And yeah, we'll stay in touch. We'll do it again soon. We like working with you guys.
Yeah,
We like
we
working.
appreciate it, and
Uh,
we're looking forward to tabling at the spring into summer event in a few weeks. So we'll be there.
Wahoo. Excellent. All right. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks so much, Jim.
We hope you've enjoyed today's edition of The Impact, a Sustainable CT podcast. This program was written, recorded, edited, and produced by me. That's right. As always, it is copyrighted by Sustainable CT. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for listening. Thank you to our sponsor, the Tremaine Foundation. Thanks to our guest, Jayson Velazquez, for everything he does to make Connecticut and our world a better place. And thanks to everyone for taking local actions that have a statewide impact.